kids, today we're going to be reading Liberty by Allan Drumond, and this is a story all about the day that the Statue of Liberty was revealed in New York. The day I helped Mr. Bartholdi light up the world, it rained and rained. All the umbrellas in the whole city were out on the streets. And so were all the flags. At the waterfront, there was a special ferry boat waiting to carry Mr. Bartholdi and his friends from France, and me. And the harbor was bursting with ships. As we headed out to the islands where they'd built Mr. Bartholdi's statue. We passed plenty of boats, all sizes, some flying the American flag and some flying the flag of France. And all around us, people cheered and yelled, "Liberty!" and "Freedom!" A big steamship sailed into the harbor from the ocean, loaded with immigrants just arriving from Europe, coming to America to find liberty and freedom and a better life. And near the island, there was a ferry boat full of women shouting, "How long must we wait for liberty?" It passed very close. On the island stood Mr. Bartholdi's gigantic statue and crowds of men. The men who'd put the statue together were there, constructing a skeleton of iron, building the pedestal, riveting panels of copper, at work inside Liberty's head. The flame is finished, installing the spiral staircase inside Liberty. The men who'd actually made the statue in France were there. Bartholdi at the workshop in Paris, France, where the statue was made. Shaping Liberty's copper shell, the great lady shows her face. Hand and torch go on display. Liberty first rises above Paris. And the men who'd brought the statue in pieces from France by steamboat, and the newspapermen and businessmen and engineers too. Oh, and the President of the United States. And there was just one woman and one girl on the island, talking in French and holding their flags and umbrellas and looking up through the smoke and the rain at the huge, beautiful, fantastic metal statue. Liberty enlightening the world. The Statue of Liberty, a gift to America from the people of France. Suddenly, Mr. Bartholdi gave me his handkerchief and asked me to help with the signal. Me standing way down below on the ground, waiting for a signal from a man in the crowd. And Mr. Bartholdi way up high, looking down from Liberty's crown, waiting for my signal to light up the world. All those umbrellas, all those flags, and all the ships in the harbor, the smoke and the rain, the man in the crowd waiting, me waiting, Mr. Bartholdi waiting, all the men on the island waiting, the girl and the woman waiting, the president waiting. Then the French girl suddenly sneezed. I gave her my handkerchief. And suddenly, hundreds of white handkerchiefs flashed. Boom! A cannon fired. I looked up and saw that Mr. Bartholdi had already let go of the rope. The flag fell away, and Lady Liberty's great face was revealed. I yelled, "Liberty!" as loud as I could. The French girl cried out, "Liberté!" And at sunset, Liberty's torch shone out bright from the land of the free to light up all the world. Now the way I see it, hello, bonjour, free, liberté, freedom. I am free, and you are free. Goodbye, Mr. Bartholdi. We are free, we are equal. We are free to say what we want and to believe what we want, and we must help others be free. Freedom is like a flame we must all hold high and give to others and keep burning bright all around the world. The end. So this book was all about the Statue of Liberty. And here's a little note to readers from the author. It says, imagine this, New York City, October 28th, 1886. A small boy stands at the foot of an enormous statue, his heart bursting with excitement. For today, he has been given the most important job in the world. Imagine the man who designed the Statue of Liberty looking down on New York Harbor from the crown of his magnificent creation. Below him, hundreds of ships are bobbing about, waiting for the first glimpse of his brilliant masterpiece, Liberty enlightening the world. Thousands of people have gathered to celebrate the dedication of Frederick Auguste Bartholdi's colossal sculpture. School children all over France have helped raise the money for the huge metal figure, a gift from the people of France to honor America's ideals of liberty and freedom. In the United States, Joseph Pulitzer's popular newspaper, The World, has championed the idea of the statue and persuaded thousands of American school children and adults to give money to help raise the monument to liberty on an island in New York's harbor. Now the day has arrived. The mayor of New York City has proclaimed a public holiday, and Broadway is bustling with people who have come to watch the big parade. In the harbor, immigrants are arriving by ship to begin new lives, and 200 women, members of the New York Suffrage Association, are also afloat, protesting. How, they deemed, could liberty be represented as a woman when women in the United States and France cannot even vote? Imagine, in the great crowd of men gathered on the island, there are only 2 females allowed near the statue, the wife and daughter of a French engineer. All is confusion, noise, and excitement. Through the shriek of ships whistling and the swirling rain clouds, Mr. Bartholdi peers down. All of these facts, the rain, the noise, the confusion, the harbor filled with the celebration, the crowds, Mr. Bartholdi waiting way up high in the crown of the Statue of Liberty for a signal from a small boy, all of these facts are true. I found them in the history books, but nobody seems to have remembered who that small boy was or exactly what he did that day Mr. Bartholdi's wonderful statue lit up the world. People say that his signal was lost, that a cannon went off, or that Mr. Bartholdi saw the wrong handkerchief and let go of the rope at the wrong moment. Nobody knows for sure, so the rest of his story is mine, as I have imagined it.